Hey everybody. For this one, I thought I'd do something a little different. We're going to get into more of a technical discussion here. So as you guys know, I'm the Vermont Section Emergency Coordinator. And one of the things that I try to do is gather as much information as I can about who's in the state, who are the operators that we've got, as well as welcome them to the art. Okay. So every week, the FCC publishes a file. Now, I didn't start out that way. I started out probably the way anybody else would. You go to their query system. You say, okay, I want the people in my town. I want the people in my state, whatever the criteria is, and you select it. But we had Doge come in. And when they came in, they effed up everything. The queries stopped working. However, there was still a process that they must have missed that was creating files in the background. Apparently, they've gotten around to it now. They don't get updated quite as well as they're supposed to, or when they're supposed to. They were usually done on Sunday, so Monday morning you had a good file that you could work with. Now they could be sliding into Tuesday, whatever. I'm going to pull it a couple times a week. But what I do from that is I grab that file. Now the file is in a less than friendly format. Let me put it that way, to be blunt about it. And the reason it's less than friendly is the one that you get by query. You can say I want just active people, and it'll create a spreadsheet of information for you. Here you've got to go get the stuff directly. Now, on the plus side, if you're going to put it into a database, there are the creation tools there from the government that will set these things up so that they can go into the tables in your database. Very helpful, great way to do it. Again, don't know which administration did this, but it was a great idea. But when you grab it, you're going to get a whole bunch of information that, as a ham operator, I don't care about. I don't care about antenna licenses. I don't care about other types of licenses. This is the ULS database. It's the universal licensing system. It has more data in it than I'm going to need for my purposes. Now, before we get too far into this, so that you get an idea of what we're talking about for effort, the process started, I ran one last night. It started at 4:48 p.m. It completed at 8:42 p.m. Okay, so think about that. We started at 4 o'clock. We ended at 8. This is a 4-hour process. So the first thing you have to do is you have to go get the file. It's a zip file. You have to expand the file. And now you have to pull in the records. The records that you're going to need are the Alpha Mike, Charlie Oscar, Echo November, Hotel Delta, and Hotel Sierra. If you don't do the phonetics, it is AM, CO, EN, HD, and HS. These are the records that are the details about everybody. It is the person. It is the comments about that were put on the record. It's their history. So it's the details that you need in order to process this correctly. Once you've got those in and you have to put them into a database, then you can match them up. Each record has a unique identifier on it. So each one of us has a unique identifier that'll tie out to all the records in all the other tables. So once you've got that data pulled, you're going to then match it up for whatever reporting that you want to have. For example, let's take the first report that I do, which is who is active in Vermont. Now, I do two, and there's a reason for that we'll get into in a minute. But the active Vermont one goes and looks, and what it's checking for is, first of all, that the HS record does not have, that they've been termed, that the license expired, or that the license is canceled. Now, I do not grant people the 2-year bit on that. Completely. Let me put it that way. I want the expired date to be beyond a certain point, but I want to know if you've been terminated, if the license expired, or if the license is canceled. Now, these are things that are recorded in the HS table, the Hotel C. But before we go any further in this, let's break down a little bit more what we're talking about from the different tables. So the person themselves, call sign, first name, etc., that is going to come from the Echo November file. And that's going to give you the basic information about the person, where they live. If it's got a P.O. box, that'll be in P.O. box. So you have to take a look and see if it's a street address or a P.O. box, because for some reason, they split that up. Don't know why. It's an old government file. Who knows why they did things the way they did. From the, let's see, the service we want is AM. So we have to grab that code, and that's what we want. That's the amateur service. Okay. Obviously, state's going to come out of the Echo November file, because that's where the address is. From the Charlie Oscar file, we are going to look and make sure that the person hasn't passed, because that's where that will show up. In the comments, it will say deceased of some flavor. The word deceased will be in there. From the Hotel Sierra, again, we're looking in there to see if anybody is got a term, an expiration, or a cancel. We bundle those together just to see if what we've got matches any of those things. These could be individual lines in there. The expiration time is going to be in the Hotel Delta, as is a cancellation date, right? So I'm looking to see if they've been labeled as expired, or if the expired date is out. So if they've got an expired date, or they're expired, termed, or canceled, they're going to get dropped off. From there, once you've got the data, there may be some cleanup that you have to do. So you're going to have to go through the data once you've got it before you start generating reports. For example, I've got some people that have just got wrong cities put in there. All right. Waterville, for example, is missing an E. Waitsfield became Waitsfield. Stratford became Stratford. So there's certain things you're going to have to go through. You know your state to clean them up. I don't do this for the other states. And the reason I do New England is when we do our nets weekly, we get people from other states, right? From New York comes in, from New Hampshire comes in. I have a program that I use to log people in. I do it by call sign. That call sign looks people up. So by having the New England actives, I've got a larger group that I can go look people up in to see what their call sign is. So that's why I've got the New England one. Now, what do I do with this information? Well, the first thing I want my license counts. I want to know how many people do I have of each license. And as I said, I ran this last night. Of the 2,227 license holders, Now, remember, these numbers will flip because if they've got an expired date or if they've expired, I may have dropped them off. They could always renew and they'll pop back up again. But 2,227 active license holders in the state of Vermont. I have 1,020 technicians. I have 567 generals, 529 amateur extras. I have 98 advanced. I have 13 novice. Those licenses go back a ways. If you're not familiar with them, I fully understand. But they're older licenses, and they weren't changed, so they still exist. Also from there, I grabbed the information and post it to communitystrong.us in the reports section. So you can go and see what the license counts currently are from the last run. It's date stamped at the top. I also look to see who the new licensees are this month. And to me, that's important because I have QSL cards that I send out to every new licensee, and I congratulate them on getting their license. And down in the corner, in small print, but it's down in the corner, is the links to the website and things so they can get more information. Because the website contains more than just the license reports here. It contains all the information about the nets that I've gotten reports in on, so you can go see who's active on the net. You can see who, and you pop into a net you could be talking to, and how big the net's going to be, right? You can get a feel from it. Usually we're around 11. During the summer, they'll drop down. In the winter, they can go back up again. It fluctuates quite a bit, but you get an idea of how many people are going to be on the net, what the timing of the net is, things like that, by looking at the logs that are put in. I also have all of the repeaters. We have 2 linked repeater systems in the state of Vermont. One is a UHF one, and the other is a DMR one. I have their towers listed, and if you hover over it, you can get information about the individual towers and how to connect up to that particular repeater. So that's my goal, is to put out more information. And to that end, and the reason I'm mentioning the other things on the site is that's why I go and get this information from the Universal Licensing System. Again, that query that they've got can break down quite often. So if you're just looking to find ham operators in your region, right, you can just go and look at that Echo November file, and you'll be able to, if you download this file, you'll only have to look at that file and find everybody who's ever been given a license, an amateur license, in your state. If that's all you're looking for, you're good to go. If you want to know more information about them, like have they been terminated, expired, you'll have to go look into that Hotel Sierra file to go see, again, it's called Unique System Identifier, and see if that ties out to something that's in there. But that won't tell you deceased people, oddly enough. You have to go into your Charlie Oscar file to go see if there's a description in that file that says deceased. And that's why it's easier just to pull all these things into one place and put it there. Because you're looking for a ULS code for the service, and you're looking for Alpha Mike, right? AM for amateur. And then you have to tie that back to the operator class, and the operator class is in the other file that we didn't talk about yet, the Alpha Mike file. Funny enough, but in that file is an operator class, and you can look that up, but you've got to know that the service is an AM service, which gives you the codes from that you can go look up the operator class. Now for me, I actually had to create, I believe, that code file. Take a quick look here. Because it was not complete. I needed to know what all the codes are. And here's why. What you're going to find in that table is a single letter code. So when you're looking in the Alpha Mike table, you're going to find an operator code in there. That operator code is going to be Tango, Papa, November, Golf, Echo, or Alpha. Some are easy. Tango is Technician. Papa is Technician Plus. November is Novice. Golf is General. Echo is Amateur Extra. And Alpha is Advanced. Just to me, it made it much easier for me to take those codes, put the codes together, and put them in there, and leave myself the wiggle room if I needed to add more later on, that I could just add them. But if you're doing it yourself, those are the operator classes you would have to look up basically with an in statement to say if it's one of these codes. But that's how you can get the information from the database so that you can get the operators in your area. Now, as I said, mine takes 4 hours. At the end of mine, I do a little bit extra work, right? So I've gone and I've grabbed all the reports and pulled them in. And those reports came in and the majority of the time, just under 4 hours. So from 4:48 to 2042, 8:42 p.m. was just to go grab all that data. I put it into a staging table and I merged the two tables together for each of those different types. I like working with staging tables because if something goes wrong, I haven't lost anything. The extra work that I do actually took it from 8:42 and 20 seconds to 8:42 and 57 seconds. So once you've got the data, working with it is quick and easy. It's just getting the data in the first place. Part of that is I create that active Vermont list. I create the active New England list. I get the counts by license. Then I generate a report of those, and that report gets automatically pushed up to the website so that Community Strong site that I've got gets certain things pushed to it automatically. The reports of the nets go up as soon as I've got it, and I process the information in. So does my license counts, and so do the new licenses. Also, I will go through and I will make up a individualized list for my DECs. So they will have a list of their people in their area so that they can go look them up. If a radio club, especially a new one, but even an existing one, were to ask for information about people in the area and they told me which towns they were interested in, I would be more than happy to make up the list for them because I want the art to grow in the state of Vermont. So I just wanted to put something out there this week. I'll be down at the Ham Exposition this time next week. Today is Saturday. And giving a presentation down there about areas in Vermont. I will be down there at the time that you hear this next week. But I just wanted to get this out there. May not have the time to record it until then. And just to give you guys an idea for what I do to set up that file. Again, like I said, you can go to the ULS, Universal Licensing System, anybody can, and you can query. Again, you're looking for amateur service. You might also want vanity, depending on what you're looking for, but you definitely want the amateur service as one of your criteria. Put in your state. You can put in your town too if you want to look and see which hams are in the area with you, and get a report. It'll let you know when it's done. It's a downloadable report. So all the stuff that I just told you have to do with the different files, you can just throw that all out and just get it from them if it works. And that, unfortunately, is the lion's share problem. Was after they got into those computer systems and started playing around with them all, a lot of them broke. And the querying system through the web was down for months before it came back online. All it kept saying is, we're experiencing a difficulties and we're looking into it. For months. No updates. No, hey, we figured out what's going on. No reports about when it was going to come back or the amount of effort it was going to take. Like, hey, it's going to take us a couple of weeks. We'll have it back. Nothing. Just a little banner at the top saying, hey, we're offline. Too bad for you. But again, like I said, the background process that apparently they didn't touch was still cranking out these files, and you could still go get the files. I'm assuming the files are accurate. Might be a bad assumption. I don't have any way to vet them, obviously. But it's one way that you can go and get the information for yourself, especially if you are a club or looking to start up a club. It's good to know who could be in the area that might be interested in your club. For my fellow SECs, it's good to know who's in the state, obviously. That could be possible members of the Emergency Communications Corps. I do not press anything with those QSL cards. I just let them know that there is a site and who I am, and congratulations. No advertisements, no BS. Just, hey, you got your technician's license. Congratulations on earning that. And here's some reference information if you're interested. If they join areas through that, if they get information off the site, I don't care. I want to put the stuff out there so it makes things easier for them. I have heard good things about the information on the site, that people actually like it. Hopefully from there, they join one of the emergency communications setups and go from there. But that's what I got for you guys this week. I will talk to you all next week.